Greetings PCL fans, Credulity26 here. I've got the Season 4 video for you guys. We do this every season. We bring you just kind of an update on our rules, anything that's changed, and kind of a nice big refresher for anyone that might be new to us. I'm also going to be bringing you what everyone's been waiting for, the draft order. I know everyone's really excited to get the draft order so that they can start planning their teams maybe a little better, so we're going to get right into that. So again, welcome everybody to the Pokemon Champions League. This season we've got 32 teams once again. Everybody's pretty much set. I'm going to show you guys the teams here really quick. We've got obviously our Origins League. These are the little bit bigger players. These are all the nice little logos that we got for everybody. We love showing those off. And then we've got the Generations League, some of the smaller, when we say that, it's like the people that just haven't quite gotten to the level to get to Origins, or the 4 players that just dropped down into Generations. And we'll explain how that works later in the video. But I think first we really want to get to that draft order. I know you guys are really excited. So let's jump right into it. Alright guys, here's the 2 leagues. Gonna do Origins first, just quickly randomize that, and then randomize Generations, and then we will discuss what happened. Alright, here's what we're looking at. We've got Black Viper getting the first pick, as well as Palookie getting second, White Lotus and Onyx making the top 4 there, Mighty Gliscor, Toast Machine, Clutch, and Jimmy Boy in the middle, Hassan, S-Life, Brendan, Sam, and then near the end we've got Fury, Lo-Fi, Lovecraft, and FaZe getting some end wheel picks. In Generations we've got Checknate, Hubi, Johnny D is top 3, and then you've got me, Koala Soup, Thoro, Litboy, George, Jasper, Jane, Icy Shoes, Ezreal, Cross, Aquavite, Delta, Brian, and Manatee gets that last pick there at the end. So this is what we are looking at. I know not everyone's going to be happy with it, but this is what we've got for the draft order. Alright. So moving on, I just want to talk about some of the rules here with our league. So the layout. So our layout is obviously, like I just said with the draft order, 2 leagues, Origins, Generation. Origins is the big kids or master league for the people that have proved themselves. Generations is for everyone else, new people, people that haven't quite made it up to Origins. So the 4 worst people from Origins each season drop down. So the 4 people from the last season that had the worst overall records drop down to Generations. Now this season, moving up from Generations is a little different. It's gonna be the 2 people that make finals. And then outside of those 2 people, if you remove them from the pile, the next 2 best records. So if the person with the best record in Generations ends up losing the first round of playoffs, that's okay. They're still gonna make it in. So it's gonna be the next 2 best records outside of the finalists will make it up to Origins. So that's how we're going to be deciding that from here on out. And as far as the regular season and playoff seeding, regular season this season is going to be 9 weeks. There were some complaints that people thought 11 weeks was too long. So the best way to do that is to cut it down to 9 for us. So each coach, you're going to face your entire conference, which I will show in a little image in a second what your conference is. And then you're going to face 2 coaches in the opposite division from yours. This will make sense when I show you the little pictures here. So the top record from each division, as we've done in the past, goes on to the playoffs, as well as the next 2 best records from that entire conference. Again, the image will help that make a little more sense. But basically, if you win your division, there's 4 people in each division. If you have the highest record out of all 4 of those people, you don't need to worry. You're going on to the playoffs. But then there's a little leeway with, like, okay, the next 2 best, and that can be throughout any of the divisions. If one division just ends up doing so much better than another one, 3 people could make playoffs from that division. And then playoffs, as it's been before, is a single elimination tournament, no trades, no free agency is allowed during playoffs at all. So here's our little picture that we kind of show everybody to show you how the league is divided. So let's just start with Origins League. So Origins League over here, this is the whole league. So you've got Kanto Conference and Johto Conference. And then those conferences are broken up into divisions. So obviously Kanto is broken up into red and blue. Johto is gold and silver. Makes sense. So each of these divisions has 4 people in it. Let's say, like I normally do, I end up in red division. So if I am in this red division with 3 other people, I fight all 3 of those other people during the season, and I also fight all 4 of the people in blue division. That's my entire conference. That's 7 battles. So to make it 9, I would then fight 2 of the coaches from the silver division, and that will be decided when we put up scheduling. It'll be completely random which ones each person fights. But red will fight silver, blue will fight gold, and 2 of them will fight 2 of them, and then the other 2 will fight the other 2, if that makes sense. So it'll be 9 weeks. And then generations is split up the same, just with different names. It's the Hoenn Conference with Ruby and Sapphire divisions, and the Sinnoh Conference with Diamond and Pearl divisions. Set up exactly the same, 4 coaches per division. So like we said with the playoffs, the top person in each of these goes to the playoffs. And then the next 2 best in each conference also go to the playoffs. So the main goal each season is to try to win your division by fighting the people in your division and the opposite division and having the best score. So some new rules. So Baton Pass last season, we did lift restrictions on it and allowed speed passing, and it went crazy. One of the best examples being my Komala, kind of going crazy when we pass speed to it. So that's banned. You can't pass speed anymore, and multiple stats can't be banned either. So you can't pass Calm Minds still. Not allowed. You can pass Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, Iron Defense, Acid Armor, those are fine. You can pass those. They only boost 1 stat. You can't pass anything else. And then Z Crystals are no longer drafted. Our draft is now only going to be 11 Pokemon, and that's it. You do not draft your Z Crystal. At the end of draft, everybody will decide who their 2 Z captains are. Those captains can use any Z Crystal at all, but they're the only Pokemon that can use a Z Crystal. And your captains have to be only, well, not have to be, but only one of them is allowed to be tier 1 or tier 2. The other one has to be tier 3 or lower. If you want both your captains to be tier 3, that's totally fine. If you want both your captains to be tier 4, that's fine. But you can't have 2 captains that are tier 1. You can have a tier 1 captain and a tier 3, but you can't have 2 above that, but you can have 2 below that, if that makes sense. Any questions? Ask a moderator. Switching Z captains will cost you a free agency point. But assigning that Z captain, this was a little confusing for some people, you assign it after you've already dropped your Z captain. So to better explain it, let's say my Z captain is Necrozma, but I decide to drop that through free agency to pick up something else, let's say Volcarona. And I want Volcarona to be my new Z captain. So dropping and trading for Volcarona, that's 1 free agency, you know, just a free agency trade. And then in order to take the Z captain away from Necrozma and then put that Z captain onto Volcarona costs 1. So in total it costs 2 free agencies. Some leagues have it to where you basically are doing 3 because you have to spend an FA to take the captain off and then an FA to take it back on. We're not doing that. It just costs basically 2 total. And with trades, it's the same. If you're trading your Z captain, you trade that to someone, they give you something for that trade, and then you make that your Z captain. It costs you 1 trade and then 1 FA in order to switch your Z captain. And then trades this season are also a little different. We are allowing 2 trades per week. FAs, the free agencies in total, have been increased to 6 per season now. So hopefully that can help people out. The FAs were increased to 6 so that the Z captains were a little easier. And then the trades, we wanted to put a limit on those because they got a little crazy, but this also makes it so that people don't run out of trades by the end of the season so easily. So you get 2 per week. We thought that was a really, really good compromise. So now we've got more rules. The draft process. Draft begins at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on December 15th. That is not changing at all. If you need, we do have a clock running in the Discord that is linked in the rules and resources, so you can use that to kind of gauge things there. And then the draft is going to be just like any other draft we've done. If you're not familiar, though, it's a snake-like manner. The person that's first drafts first. It goes all the way down to the 16th person, and then in the next round, the 16th person gets the first pick, and it goes back up and then down and up through 11 rounds of drafting until everyone's gotten their mods. And again, you have to fill your roster as follows. You get a Mega, Tier 1, Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, a Tier 4, a Tier 5, and then you get 4 free picks, which you get 400 points for. And then the draft tiers do have those points listed on the top, so you add those points up, you get 4 Pokemon that will equal you 400 points. You do not have to draft, again, in this order. You do not have to use all 400 points. If you're under those points, that's totally fine. That's up to you if you don't fill that up. But if you go over these points, you will not. You'll have to go back and fix something. We will try to monitor it as the draft goes. If you make a draft pick that you cannot do, we will tell you no, and you have to pick something else. Just make sure you focus on the 400 points and don't go over. So the draft timer, again, this season is 1 hour. After an hour, you will be skipped. There is some leniency in this, which I can go over. Basically, we want everybody to leave a draft plan with somebody, with someone that's a friend, someone that can draft for you, so we can get this draft done in about a day. That's usually our goal. We try to make it fair for everybody in this way. If you leave a really thorough, really big draft plan with lots of backups, we shouldn't have to skip you, hopefully. But if by some reason somebody snipes every single one of your picks, we might give you a little extra time to get in and make your pick. We'll be pinging you a bunch, and we'll do our best to try to get that to you. But if you do not leave a draft plan, you do not leave any picks with anybody, and you know you're going to be gone, and you do not tell anybody, after an hour you are skipped. And if it gets back to your turn, we do not wait that 1 hour. We skip you again until you get back. Once you get back, you can do all your picks that you forgot, that you weren't here for. You can make those up. And then if it gets back to you again and we have to wait again, you will probably be skipped within less than the hour. This is up to mod discretion. We just want people to make sure they communicate with the mods if they're not going to be here, and how we can help them with this so that this draft goes smoothly for everybody, because I know everybody gets impatient. I want to be fair to everybody, but that doesn't always work out. Again, leave the picks. Picks are going to be made on a spreadsheet. I'm going to show off that spreadsheet in this video in a little bit. You'll see how that works. After you pick, you put your picks. So you'll basically pick on the spreadsheet, and then you'll post your pick to the correct Discord channel. You'll see how that works. Most people will already know this process and how to do it. And then you will @ the next coach in line. Make sure you @ them in the Discord so that people know it is their turn. That is really, really, really important. And actually, since we have the... I'm going to do this now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the draft order. Not the draft order, the draft sheet. So this is our draft sheet. This is what it's going to look like when you are drafting. So this is the sheet. This first tab is just the Pokemon list and tiers. You can scroll through it. It is in tier order, so you can read down that when you need to. This is the big tier list. If you need to see it, it will be here. And these will get filled in automatically, not by you. This page is not where you fill in, but this is just to give you an idea of what's still available, because things will begin to fill up in here as people draft. Here is the selection page. This is the important page. Basically, the round is here, and the picks, we're going to fill in the team names here. So your team name will be here somewhere. So if your first pick here, then you're going to be last pick round 2 down here, something like that. So basically, when it is your turn, you're going to go to this Pokemon tab, and then scroll down and pick the Pokemon that you want. And I'll show you why this is really convenient and really cool. So let's say turn 1, you want to pick Charizard Mega X. So Mega Charizard X, basically. Everything's ordered so that the Pokemon name is first. So if it's a Mega, make sure you type in the Pokemon's name first. So let's say the first person is me, COL, that's Colorado. This will already be filled in. Again, you just pick your Mega, or your Pokemon. So I pick Mega Charizard X. Now if you go over to the tier list, this did not fill in. This should fill in automatically. It did not. We will be working on this. Charizard. Oh, it's because it's Charizard Mega X instead of Charizard X Mega. I will fix that. I will do a better example here. Let's say I pick Diancie then. Diancie Mega. That should work. So then we go over here. Boom. Look at that. You can't see it too well here, but it says COL. My name got filled in automatically under Diancie Mega. I will fix these Charizards. They're just not right in the right order here. But Diancie Mega. Boom. So you'll just do that. All you really have to do is focus on this page, fill in your picks, use this to see what's already been taken. It's the best way to do it. See what's been taken in case you've been sniped if you're not paying attention. But again, that's how that works. And then this very last one, we're going to ask people if they're able to try to fill this in as they go. So let's say I was first and I did pick, you know, Diancie. I can just fill my name in here. Some mods will be around to help fill this in, but we would love if people did that themselves. This is not automated, but this is what we will input into the actual spreadsheet for this season, if that makes sense. So, again, apologize that it didn't work for that first one. It's gonna get fixed. That's a simple fix. I just happened to pick Charizard for that, and I'm glad I know now. More rules. Free points update. Free points did get updated. So tier 1 and tier 2 cost the same as they always have. 180 and 120. Tier 3, 4, and 5 all got bumped up 20 points. Some of the teams we were getting were still kind of broken. We wanted to even that out a little bit. So 100, 60, and 40. Same across the board. And Megas are still the same points. Tier 2 Mega gives you plus 40 points extra to spend. Picking a tier 3 Mega gives you 60 more points, and a tier 4 gives you 80 more points. Again, you do not have to fill those entire 400 points, but you cannot go over your total, and that's after adding Mega points. But again, you pick a tier 1 Mega, you get 0. So need that 400. Don't go over. Replacement coaches. Any coach, again, this is the same as last season. If you miss 2 weeks in a row, we don't hear from you, we're not able to figure anything out, you will be dropped and replaced. We do have a waiting list of people that do want to participate, so we will drop you if you are not around and not able to complete this. Basically, if you, for some reason, can't get to your battle that week, always contact a mod. We're always around and we talk with each other. Just communicate. It's always the biggest thing, and I don't know why people still struggle with it. Communicating is so important with this. Telling the mods if you're not going to be able to make it that week, and telling your opponent, and then trying to schedule around it. We are more than happy to give you a week extension. If it's going to be over a week, then it might be a problem and we might have to figure something else out. And then if we do have an Origins coach drop, we had to come up with a rule for this, because we're like, what would happen? What we would do is basically ask whoever the top coach in Generation is at the time, and that would be up to moderator discretion, making sure we're picking the right person. We would ask them to move up. They would take over the team for Origins, though. If the person from Generations really didn't want to move up, we would probably allow them to stay and ask the next person in line, and on down the list until we find someone that wants to move up to Origins. And then from there we would replace the spot in Generations with a new person. Makes it fair so that we're not just adding new people into the Origins League. If you're a replacement coach in Origins and you make playoffs, this is another rule we really wanted to implement. You are only eligible to rise up to the Origins League if your record since taking over the team is positive. We thought about this for a while. Anyone that can come in, let's say someone drops and there's only 2 weeks left and you replace them, winning those 2 games and then getting into playoffs, we might not let you move up to Origins if that's the case. But if you come in, say after 5 or 6 games and your record is pretty positive from when you take over until you get in, we will probably move you up to Origins. But if you take over at, like, say week 6 and you bomb your last 3 games, you lose them, you end up 6-3, the team was 6-0, but you still make playoffs and then somehow make the finals, we probably won't move you up to Origins. We found that to be a little more fair to the people that were here the entire season, just because your record didn't quite reflect what we would want for someone moving up to Origins since you took over the team, because the 6-0 at the beginning wasn't you, that was somebody else. The 0-3 is you, and we probably would decide not to move you up at that point. Hopefully that makes sense. Have any questions? Ask them on. More rules. Spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet, every coach gets a tab on the spreadsheet. I will show those in a second. If you are not familiar, these spreadsheets are super cool, and they are the way that you guys get to kind of personalize everything for yourselves. You design them how you want, make it your own, make it fit your team's theme. But we had this issue last season, I don't know who it was still, but do not edit any one sheet. Unless somebody needs help and asks you to update their sheet for them, do not do it. Don't go in and mess with someone else's sheet, it's not okay, we don't allow that here. And basically, we really want people to keep them up to date. The most important thing on the spreadsheet is entering your wins and losses, and entering in what Pokemon got kills during that game. If you constantly do not update your spreadsheet within, say, the day or two of the battle, that could be grounds for replacement if it is just constantly not happening and you're not communicating that with us. It is just about the same as not showing up to your battles. We need these updated so we can update standings, show everyone where they're at. If you're not putting all this information in the sheet, the mods have to hunt all that information down and it takes us forever. So keep them up to date. Decorating them is an option. You don't have to. We strongly encourage it. We think it's fun and gives people kind of that freedom to show off their stuff. So I want to show you guys the spreadsheet. This is not it. We get to spreadsheet. So this is the spreadsheet. This is the first tab. You're going to have this welcome. This is the Origins League, or the Generations League 1. There's going to be a link to our rules doc, which is also linked in the Discord. Kind of gives you what each tab is. So the first tab is going to be the team standings and the Pokemon standings. This is what it's going to look like. These will obviously be filled in. We will keep track throughout the season of who is first overall, second, third, and then on this side we will also keep track of who is on top of each division. And then farther down here we're going to keep track of the Pokemon standings, what Pokemon is getting the most kills, has the best differential, whose team is it on, that kind of stuff. It's really fun to show people who's doing the best there. And then a playoff picture we start doing closer towards the end of the season so people can kind of see where they stand, what they need to do, if they can still make it, who's out of the playoffs. Now, out of the playoffs is really important because once you are kicked out of the playoffs, you are no longer allowed to trade with any other players. That is a rule that we stand by. We had people abuse it in the past. Cannot do it. Out of the playoffs. Done. Next page is going to be the tiers. Again, this is going to be filled in from that other spreadsheet. We're just going to copy paste it in here. It's going to have everything filled in with who took what Pokemon. Really simple there. The schedule, this is where you will see your schedule. So your name will be on one of these, your team, and then this will tell you who you are facing every single week. And then we will fill these in with a green or a red, depending on if you won or lost. It's just a really easy way to track that kind of thing. And then here's that other draft sheet so people can see your full teams if they need to. Again, this will be copy pasted from the other draft table. So this is what you are going to be given though as your template to kind of play around with. This is what everyone's sheets looks like. Any colors and any font you are more than welcome to edit. The font, again, as long as it's readable, colors as well. Don't make this too not readable, otherwise we will probably ask you to fix it. But you'll basically fill in your team, the coach. We might put that in for you when we make all the tabs. A win-loss ratio, you're going to enter that yourself. We do not have any formula for that. You just type in, let's say you're 0-3. Sucks to be you, but you can put in 0-3. The really important part, though, is on this side. You'll fill in your Pokemon's name. And then from there, every week, you're going to say how many kills that Pokemon got, and how many deaths. This is where we have trouble with people keeping up with their spreadsheets. So literally, let's just say I have Celesteela, because I'm awesome and I got Celesteela, and let's say I got 4 kills and no deaths. Huh! If you look over here, it automatically put in the overall differential as +4. Other thing it did was enter in your overall differential down here. Now when you click on these cells, you'll see up near the top that there is an equation. There, it popped it in there. There's an equation that's plugged in there. So this differential, overall differential on the side, and then down here where we have your dropped Pokemon, all the differentials on this side. Do not delete those formulas. Super important. Those formulas help us a lot. I don't want to have to go in and redo them. Again, you can change the color of this cell to whatever you want. I'll show you my sheet in a minute, but look, you can change the color. That's totally fine. As long as this is still working, that's fine. And again, the font, you can play around with different fonts. There's lots of cool fonts you can get. The other thing we're implementing this season are these boxes here, where you can enter in your Pokemon's information, and we are going to, again, want this to be done. So you'll put in Celesteela. I actually already have a fun font in here, I need to fix that. But, let's see, so there's something like Celesteela, and you'll enter in all the Pokemon's information, and you can put a picture of the Pokemon here, or an animated GIF, whatever you want that represents that Pokemon there. Some people also like to put in nicknames, like I had Celesteela one season, I named him Rocket Man. You can put Rocket Man in here. As long as we can tell that this is your Celesteela, go ahead and put your nickname there. That's super cool. But again, you'll want to do that. You'll want to fill in your dropped Pokemon down here so that we can continue to keep track of your differential throughout the season. As an example, I want to show you guys what you can do with this spreadsheet, because you're like, oh, there's so much stuff on here, I can't really customize this. This is kind of what we're looking for. This is the sheet that I made. The font is very readable. I've got my logo up here and near the top. Colorado Avalugs, Cordillera 26, the win-loss ratio, my differential. I put an Avalug. Let's pretend I'm gonna draft Avalug, and I put his name as Titanic in here. I put in all his stats. So the fun thing is, again, with these formulas that I've put in, the totals for all of these have formulas, so please don't delete those. Once again, it gives you a base stat total down here, 514, and then all the way over here, we're gonna have totals for your entire team, so you can kind of see what your average hit points, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed, all that. You can see your averages over there, which is going to be really cool. And then something some of us like to do is make MVP spots where we can put a fun picture for the Pokemon that did the best that week. We can have little team MVP, stuff like that. I enjoy doing it, so I put that there. And then you can look down here at my drop Pokemon. I also did different colors on that and stuff. So again, make it your own. Just do not delete any of the important stuff. And we'll be good. So that is the spreadsheet. That's what we're talking about when we talk about our awesome, cool, badass spreadsheets. Biggest rule of all: communicate. If you're going to be gone a week or two, whatever, tell them on. And do it well before you leave, not the day before, and we will work with you. We really want to work with you guys to make sure that everything works out well. If the last minute emergency comes up, please tell a mod as soon as possible. Obviously, emergency, that's like, it's an emergency, so just tell us when you're able to, but make sure we know. We don't like people just ghosting on us and then coming back and being like, oh, well, I had this emergency thing. It's like, well, you didn't tell us that. There's not much we can do for you if you don't tell us. If you can't update your sheet for any reason, tell a mod or tell a friend who can help you update your sheet for you. If your opponent for that week is not responding to you at all and you have tried direct messaging them, not just pinging them, but direct messaging them, and they do not respond, tell a mod. We try to keep track of all this, but we miss things a lot. So please, if someone's not responding to you and you've tried multiple times, tell us and we will get on them about it. And if they don't get back, then we can start thinking about if we need to replace them, if we give you the free win for the week, stuff like that. So please make sure we know. Notable tier shifts, I kind of wanted to go over this super quick, just so people are fully aware. We moved a lot of these because of the new Z Captain rule. To Tier 1, Necrozma, Volcarona, and Xurkitree all moved up. All 3 of those were because of Z Captains. To Tier 2, Chansey moved down. Chansey wasn't doing so well. Skarmory and Tangrowth also moved down because they weren't doing so well. Greninja moved up because of Z Captains. Lucario was insane last season, so we moved him up. Slowbro, another one that's just been insane in draft, we moved him up. And then Serperior's one that we've debated every season, so he's back down in Tier 2. I think that's cheap. We'll see how he does again. I think he's going to dominate the Tier 2s again. To Tier 3, Blissey, we moved Chansey down, we moved Blissey down. Makes sense to us. Bronzong and Chestnut both moved up. Chestnut definitely makes sense, did really well last season. It's a really powerful mon that's been moving up the tiers in Smogon even. So really strong. Bronzong, little on the fence. It puts him in the same tier as Metagross, and I think Metagross is still better, but it's okay. Nidoking moved down. I think that was needed, especially because Nidoqueen is also Tier 3. Nidoqueen's usually a little better in draft even, so that's fine. Tornadus moved down. I think with Z Captains, that's a mistake. It's a really easy Z Captain to be able to abuse, but we voted on that one and people wanted to move it to Tier 3, so down it goes. And then Toxicroak we moved up because of Z Captains. He'll be really strong. To Tier 4, Aerodactyl, Bruxus, Flygon, Frostlass all moved to Tier 4. They were not doing well in Tier 3. Nobody was ever picking them, ever used them well. So yeah. Drampa we moved up. Thought it was a little too strong for Tier 5. A really strong Dragon gives Tier 4 a little bit more Dragon choices. Palisand, another one that's proved really strong. A really great wall against a lot of Pokemon. So moved that up to Tier 4. And then Piloswine and Tangela are 2 Eviolite users that have proven to be really, really good and a little too strong for Tier 5. So they moved up as well. Down to Tier 5, we moved Clawitzer, Ninjask, Rotom Frost, and Samurott. Clawitzer and Samurott just never see any play, never get picked, so they're moving down. Ninjask, we had moved up because of Baton Pass. Now we're moving him back down because Baton Pass got fixed. And then Rotom Frost was one that people were a little more on the fence on, but I think the rock weakness really hurts it, so it's moving down to Tier 5, and we'll see how that does. So that's it from us. I hope you guys really enjoy this season. I know we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be really fun. Yeah, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the draft order. I know that's why most of you are here, so let's have a really fun, really good season. And we'll catch you out there. See you guys later.